Oh, wait, I need to burp. Do I actually find me for lunch and my stomach is killing me now? Yeah, I guess the big question on everyone's mind is when is the next general election? The big question.
The general election. Uh,
Wait.
The stage is set for the fourth state election since the start of the pandemic. What are the dynamics at play at the southernmost state of Peninsular Malaysia?
Kita akan membuka ruang, merangkul semua kekuatan pembangkang dan civil society untuk memastikan ada perubahan.
So, who is actually the government and who is actually the opposition that's going to start contesting for the election on Johor?
so basically, there's a lot of parties contesting this time around compared to the previous election. So this particular state election, right? It's only for the Johor State Assembly. It doesn't concern the parliamentarians that we see in Kuala Lumpur. That doesn't concern the current election. So it's only Johor State Assembly. So we have the government. The current government is led by UMNO and its component parties. So there's a coalition between UMNO, Bersatu, and PAS. So it makes up the current government. So for the opposition, we have the Pakatan Harapan, PKR, Amanah, and DAP. So those are the big three lah. And then we also have new contestant coming in, which is Pejuang, the Mahathir's party, and also Muda, the new party led by Sadiq. So this is the general overview of the parties lah in the Johor state election.
Oh, but just for like another simple question lah, because myself, I'm not really keen into politics, but I just want to know, apart from this, like there's also the difference. I would like to know the difference between the state election and the general election, because my understanding lah, general election means every 5 years there'll be one big contestant, right? But what is it about this election that okay, sorry, to answer myself answer my own question, which is the next general election. Every general election starts at 5 years. This is a common sense that we all know lah. Just that okay, for a general election, the contest will be among the federal seats, correct? Which is considered the whole Malaysia. And when you have the state election, what actually is the difference, like the significant difference that we all should know between the state and the federal?
So the main difference, right, is that each state they have their own assembly, meaning their aduns lah, and also they also have a form of their own opposition in the state assembly itself. So currently we are now having an election that is only concerning those seats in the state. The parliamentarian ones, right, doesn't get affected at all. Like you said, right, it's every 5 years, or at least within that 5-year frame time lah. Actually, Prime Minister can call for early election also, but it must be within the 5-year frame time lah. But for the state election, right, once it's called a day, once it's done for this Johor election, it will be the government for the next 5 years.
So like with Johor election being a very big social media issue regarding everyone is pushing, they're asking everyone to vote, go back Johor and stuff. Do you think it's sort of like a domino effect where, because the opposition realized that they have already lost Malacca and Sabah also, I think so. So they are trying to to stop UMNO winning the whole election, which so they're trying to win Johor election so that they can get back their power. It seems sort of like their flow. So on the next coming GRU, PRU on 2023, they have a good chance.
Yeah, it's sort of correct lah. There's this domino effect also going around in social media. In fact, it was posted by the opposition parties that says that Sabah, Sarawak, and Malacca has fallen, some sort of fallen up to the UMNO-led coalition. And why is Johor important, right? Why is it so hyped up compared to the previous state elections? Because Johor, it's quite a special case. As you can see right now, the current standing between the government and opposition is, in fact, the government only have one seat, slim majority. So meaning that if you discount that seat lah, it's half already. Meaning the opposition has half and the government has half. So you can see it's not a, how to say, it's a state that is not completely dominated by UMNO or the opposition parties. So why is it so interesting? Because it gives it like a view that it's a level playing ground lah. You know, the opposition has done a lot of work in Johor, but also it is also a strong grassroots. It also has a strong grassroots for UMNO coalition as well. So it is very interesting, and also the fact that for the first time in Malaysian history, right, 18 years old gets to vote.
Yes,
So this will be the first state that gets to test that law lah, whether it will change significantly the voting outcome of our elections lah.
But quite funny when you, I mean, I saw some opinions on the general public regarding the 18 years old allowed to vote, right? They were saying like, you haven't even start paying tax yet, but then you get the right to choose who's your ruler. It's a bit funny. Because
I don't know, I think
you understand?
I think it's bullshit lah. You know, I think it's bullshit lah. And I mean, you get 18 years old, you can do a lot of things also. I mean, you get to get conscripted into army and all that stuff. And then you're telling me you can't vote. I mean, it's quite ridiculous lah.
That's one question, whether they have the capability to vote. The second thing will be whether they want to vote. Because like previously, I and Joshua also have our own discussion among ourselves. Want to figure out why it's so important for us to vote actually. Because you know how many frog parties are leaping left and right. Even if you were to choose the government one day, like one particular party will suddenly announce that they decided to side with the government because they have shared values and stuff. So when you vote for that particular party and then he jumps, it sort of nulls your vote. Your vote doesn't count anymore.
True, that's true. That's true. But at this point, I can't even keep track who is in which place now, in which party anymore. It's like this whole katak term is like so common now, and everyone's like, oh yeah, he jumped. Alright. I mean, it's like it's such a norm, but are they allowed to just keep jumping here and there? And yeah, like Laxman said, it sort of nulls everyone's votes and everyone's confidence in who they voted for. But are they allowed to just keep jumping? Not keep jumping, but jump around.
Currently, yeah, I mean, there's no particular law that, at least from what I know lah, that bars them from doing all this jumping, you know. And it's unfortunate because I think it's somewhat in because for our own country, right, we are a very special case lah. Our parties, we have quite a lot, and each of the parties stands for different ideology, even for race and religion also. So it's very hard to say. Even if we manage to pass a law that says that you can't jump here and there, right, it will still be very difficult to prevent them from doing so. At least from my point of view, lah. Malaysia does have some states. I think in Penang and Selangor, right, these two states, they have stated that you can't actually do that, but it was challenged in the courts, lah, because it goes against our constitution. Because our constitution say you have the right to freedom to associate, lah, meaning you can associate to whatever party you want, and this applies to our elected representative also. So unless that particular part of the constitution is amended, it will still remain the same for the current political climate, lah.
Yeah, freedom, that's one thing lah. But just my own opinion lah. If I sort of figure out the most responsible or the most sensible way to walk this katak thing, right, is less to prevent something like Sheraton happening again, where you elect that particular party and then suddenly they all pull out and reserve majority, dissolve the majority. Right? It's at least during the term that he was elected, right, if they decide they want to change their views suddenly or what, right, it's better for them to resign and then join in the next PRU with their new political identity rather than them just switching teams in the middle of their serving term. It's a bit how to say
It's chaotic.
It's chaotic.
It is.
Yeah.
Chaotic.
It is unstable, and it is also it is undemocratic lah.
Okay, I have a question. Like in this last 2 years, I don't know if people feel that way. Like they sort of lost faith in the whole system. You know, it happened twice now. The government changing without an election, it just sort of happened like this. And then, like,
Wait.
I guess people would
The
think.
government,
Okay.
the government didn't technically change. I don't forget.
I
The
know.
difference between
Yeah,
Sabah,
yeah.
the difference
government
between
didn't
Sabah and
Someone
technically
Domino
took
is
change.
over. Someone
nothing.
came in to change.
In fact, right, the second time around, this current government, the number of ministers increased, you know.
Yes, yes,
In
yes.
Yeah.
fact, they didn't even have the audacity. They have the audacity to just increase the ministers, you know.
There is one release. There was one parliamentary debate that was screenshotted by many people referencing to mentioning that during the flood disaster that happened, why wasn't the Menteri there? And then he responded by saying, I don't know whether I'm taking this out of context or not, but it is what I remember. He said that Menteri wasn't there, but you all cannot blame me because I have my assistants Menteri to do that. Why can't you ask them to do the work? My heart, I'm thinking, then
Then what is your
for?
job?
Then what is your
Yeah.
job? What is the Menteri's job then?
The assistant can do everything.
I mean, I think whatever they do, they will just get kencang, lah. You know, it's very hard not to kencang them, and it's very hard not to criticize them, you know, for what they already done to this country, lah. Especially, I think during the floods, our finance minister went to the flood disaster area.
In a boat.
In a
With
boat,
full of photographers.
yeah, full of photographs. When that time, right, there was not enough boats to go in and save people.
But I do have to say, you know, this 2 years pandemic, it is quite entertaining also, you know, to see things going on. I don't think it has ever happened before. Like this, so much happened in the last 2 years.
Yes.
A lot of memes came out of this.
I think we are living in a very interesting time in Malaysian politics. Never we have so much parties or even so much changes in a government, which I think if you look at it positively, it's a good thing, you know, because it means that our politics have matured in a way that we are starting to see more people descended from the old structure, because we have a government that led our country for almost 50 plus years. We never have a change in government, and we did have a change in government, but after that we got reversed by it. So now we'll see whether we can try to get back on track or not, lor. If you look at it positively, it's a good change, I would say.
Yeah, I guess the big question on everyone's mind is, when is the next general election? The big question.
For general election, it is there's no certain date yet, but it is still rumor around that it will be this year. Most likely this year, Why? Because the memorandum of understanding signed by the opposition and government expired this year, July. That particular MOU, the main function is to keep both opposition and government from politicking each other, to keep the current government from collapsing. So once that thing is expired, right, it means that it's free for all, Any political party can do their politicking, So it is rumor that it will be before that date, before July, Most likely around May.
Oh.
I think the rumors started like very long ago already. I mean, just to throw in some theories there, because it's been said too many times. Every time there's plans to open the border, there's always rumors that the election is going to happen. I mean, it always seems that that's the case. But now with like 20,000 cases every day, what is that? Do you think that is why they're sort of
they're still
opening the
opening?
border?
Maybe they want everyone to come back from overseas to vote. Sort of
In preparation for the next election.
I mean, if you want to do fake numbers, also you still need possible situations where people come back and vote. Right? It's not possible. The whole Malaysia has been locked down, right? All of a sudden, there's 5 million people voting for this particular party. Then you also know something is wrong, lah. It'll be too obvious.
Air quotes. Put things on air quotes.
Yes. So after all this, actually, it is still important for us to vote, whether we have confidence or not confidence.
Correct, yeah. Because I mean, you staying in this country, it's part of your part and parcel, You know, it's like a package for you, You get to live here, you get to get your blue IC, and then you also get to vote. So that's part of your right, If you don't vote, you don't exercise it. It'll be a shame, You know, because other people in other countries, they fought so hard also, they can't vote. But you are lucky you get to born in this country and you get to vote. So yeah, get out.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Don't boo, vote.